How we doing, everybody? It's Alex with Down East Bonsai. I'm going to make a really quick video. I got home really late from work, but I really wanted to get these two trees transplanted. I'm going to make a whole separate video on this, but I'm kind of backtracking on my, beginning bonsai excitement where I started planting all these trees I shouldn't have into small pots. And before it gets too late in the year, I'm going to try to get them back into bigger pots so they have some time for the roots to actually grow in and get ready for winter. But I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you the soil mix I'm using, and then I'm going to get the pots like mostly full, and then I'll turn the camera back on, turn it around, and I'll watch, you can watch me go ahead and repot these things. So let me turn the camera around and I will show you the mix. Alright, everybody, so this is literally the 6th tree I ever did when I started bonsai this year. And I put it in a flood pot because that's all I had. Drilled holes in the bottom, put drainage screens on it, and called it good. Then this is a white ash that I recently moved into this pot because it was not doing so good in the very tiny plastic container I had it in, but it's got kind of a cool root base. I'm trying to get it to grow over the stone. But again, I would like this to grow into an actual tree. So I am kind of backpedaling here, and I'm going to be moving them into these two large pots. So I'm going to show you the soil mix now. So I haven't mixed in the akadama yet, but it is akadama, this kanuma, and then kind of a secret ingredient, worm castings. This is a really good thing to put in for both a very slow release nutrient, and it also has chemicals in it that can actually kill pests that try to eat the leaves and stuff. So once this gets absorbed into the tree, it's actually kind of like a natural, anti-pest agent. So there's that. I also have some pine bark in here, and I mixed in a little bit of this locally made Vermont 10-10-10 fertilizer. And then also there's a decent amount of a local organic soil that's made with lobster shells, crab shells, and other like seaweed, things like that. So I have some other trees in this, and they do really well. And it's going to be in a big pot that's going to have, really large gravity column, so I want it to be a little bit more of a muddy soil than it would be if it was going into a bonsai pot. So I'm going to mix all this up, and then I will set up the camera so you can watch me just carefully put those in the pots, and then that'll be it for this video. And again, I'm going to make a separate video on me kind of backpedaling from when I started bonsai, putting all these trees in these tiny pots, not realizing that I actually want them to grow bigger. So that video will come later on. Alright, everybody, I know the light is terrible. I didn't want to get all my lights set up and it's dark. I'm just trying to use my patio light. But anyways, my goal is just to take this tree, flip it upside down, and I already have all the soil in here with a nice little hole that it should fit right in. Hopefully it works out where it just comes right out and I don't have to do too much messing around with the plant. So you can just see what happens here. Alright, so far so good. Now I do want to tilt it up a little bit from where it was. I'll try to set it down easy. And then I want it to come up like that. Right underneath it. Hold it. Okay. I'm just going to borrow a little soil from this pot. Just kind of fill this in for right now. Oop, that's not good. All right. So as you can see, I still have that really cool rock spreading all the roots. They wanted to kind of spring together, so I had to put that in there. And I'm gonna let the leaves, they'll kind of redirect themselves when the sun hits this thing, you know, over the next couple weeks. But the roots look super healthy, so this thing should do really well. I'm not really worried about the transplant at all. So I'm gonna pause the video. I'll be right back to do the juniper. I gotta put a little bit more soil in there now that I sold some. Alright everybody, so I got my juniper pizza here. Alright, so like I said, this is a flood tray. This is all I had when I started doing bonsai, was some flood trays. I'll show you when I get it out, but I drilled some holes, put screens in the bottom. Literally was using stainless steel Home Depot wire to pin this thing into the pot. That's how early on I got this tree. So this thing's been in here at least 5 months, 4 or 5 months. So I'm hoping the roots have really packed this soil, and my goal is just to lift it out, just break apart whatever I need to on the sides, and just set it into this pot. And that way, I might even tease the roots in the bottom a little, just so they can start to grow in. But my goal is just to get it in here and get it growing for the rest of the season, so that the roots have time to grow down into the soil. It can be better protected for this winter, and I can actually get some size out of it. So I'm gonna flip it over and see what happens. And that is not what I wanted to happen, but we're just gonna have to go with it. This is actually not a bad thing, because I wanted to move it closer to the edge of the pot, because the way this right here kind of grows down, kind of cascades off the side. So this will allow me to push it closer to the side of the pot. But let's take a look at the roots real quick. So we have some pretty healthy white roots there. They all look like they want to go down somewhere, so we're going to let them do that. But I'm going to have to move some of the soil out of the pot real quick. Okay. Like I said, I should be able to just kind of rake those a little bit, gently. And then I'm just going to set it right in here. Doesn't really matter which side, because again, as long as I can get that to hang over the side, that's all I really care about. Alright. Now this soil is a little muddy, so what I'm going to do, you're actually sitting on top of the bucket with the soil in it. So I'm going to pause the video again, get some soil out, and fill in the rest of this. I wasn't planning on doing that because I figured I could lift the whole thing out and just set it in there, but I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll turn the camera back on. Alright folks, they're both in the pot, and this down here is the pot that I made out of the flood tray. You can see the two screens there with wires holding it in. Just cut the holes in there and that was it. It works, but again, it doesn't let the plant grow much, so we're kind of going in reverse here. But what I like to do is really soak these things, but I use a mist, so it doesn't blast the soil, you know, that's not really compacted yet, out of the pot. That's all I'm going to do tonight, because this is supposed to, it's supposed to rain actually for the next 2 days. That's why I wanted to get this done. Those roots, I don't know about that one. Yeah, those roots are from the soil, because I had done other plants with that soil. So, but as you can see, the roots on either side will look really cool, you know, once they grow in. So that is a little white ash, I believe. I found that under about 8 inches of leaves behind my shop, and just kind of carefully slipped it out of the ground, put it in a very small training pot. And then do the same thing here. Alright, that's going to be it for today. It should rain for at least the next day and a half, if not 2 days. I just wanted to get enough water on there to help pull the moisture through and set the roots back into the new soil. And I will come back and do a separate video on me kind of backpedaling here and getting some of my trees out of the tiny pots into bigger pots, because I actually really want to grow them a lot bigger. So, and this one, I have to go back and rebend that, but I gotta do some work to this tree. Like I said, this was the 6th tree I've ever done when I started bonsai. So, you know, pretty neat design, but it's gonna use some work. I'm gonna change the upper canopy around. These pads, I'm just gonna let them grow down even more, but all that back there, it needs some work. So, when I do that, I guess obviously I'll make a video of it so everybody can see it. But that's it for tonight, everybody. Hit the like button, subscribe for more videos, and like I said, I will come back and do that video on me going from my bonsai pots back to bigger pots like this. Have a good night, everybody.